Film Theory just dropped a video on the Amazing Digital Circus. I predicted that he would do it. I literally called it in my watch of the first episode that he would do this, but oh well. MatPat just made a video. The Amazing Digital Circus is lying to you, and yeah, that seems to be what it's exactly doing. So here we go. Let's see if MatPat does it. I am sure MatPat's gonna do a good job. There's no way he's gonna bumble the fumble on a single episode, right? 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 I have a feeling this is gonna be a review. This is gonna be a review.
There is no escape. Ever.
True! That's what my ex-wife keeps telling me.
Hello, Internet.
joke,
Welcome to Film Theory, the show that'll be theorizing day after day after day after day.
Oh my god, dude! Stop doing this! No! I knew he was gonna just reference it by just quoting random...
And we don't know why. Let's talk about the Amazing Digital Circus, shall we?
You, my friend, stumbled into an incredible world of wonders where anything can happen, except for swearing.
Oh my god.
In case you aren't caught up with this one,
True, true! You don't want to get demonetized out there in the digital circus!
This is the latest series from the creative geniuses over at Glitch Productions. This one was written, produced, and directed by Gooseworks, a talented artist who also composed music for both Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. And their creativity
I did not know that!
It's really come through with this one. I gotta say, you guys went crazy recommending this one to us across comments, GT Live, and our subreddit. And it's pretty darn easy to see why. Between the amazing animation, gifable moments, an incredible cast of characters, and a storyline wrapped up in 18 different layers of mystery, this is the perfect show.
It's just great! To dive in. Dude, I cannot believe how many videos I made on it, and it's just a single episode. I love it. It's just so wonderfully memeable.
Which means that if you haven't watched the first full episode yet, go do it. Watch it after this theory. Though I'd be surprised if you hadn't.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? Wait. He is such a YouTuber. Oh my god.
The first full episode yet? Go do it. Watch it after this theory.
After this theory. You're making a theory about something. You want to watch that after this theory? That is the worst call for support I've ever seen in my life.
I'd be surprised if you hadn't, because this thing already has like 30 million views across the platform.
Dude, the editor called him out. I've never seen this before. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so excited.
After this theory, though I'd be surprised.
Pause the video. New tab.
This thing.
Watch it now. This is the editor. The editor is literally arguing with MatPat right now.
It is doing mighty well for itself.
I think it has like 70 million views right now. It's insanely successful.
But just so we're all on the same page for today's theories, the pilot follows.
I love mentally unstable women as main characters in in weird hellscape fictional stories.
A woman named Pomni, who's thrust into a strange digital world styled after a circus, alongside 5 other humans. Jax, the lovable jerk, Ragatha, the sweet optimist, Gangle, who can't hide her emotions, Zooble, who's made out of a bunch of random objects, and Kinger, who's been trapped there.
I love how he just described all the characters by their, like, personalities. He's like, this person, he's the lovable asshole, and then this person is optimistic, and then this person can't hide emotions, and this person is random pieces stuck together.
They're the longest and has gone kind of crazy as a result. The whole circus is run by a ringleader named Cain, who, according to the show's website,
I wonder if he's gonna get into the Cain and Abel stuff that I was talking about in my video.
They quote wacky AI, and all of the
yeah, he does give that AI vibe.
Humans are just subject to his every whim and desire.
Gadzooks, you're right, Jax. We should have a brand new adventure for our new member, Pomni.
I said that like 5 minutes ago.
However, the humans don't necessarily want to go on these adventures, and they're constantly trying to find ways of getting out. This has even driven.
On the one end, you have all these people that are going on these wacky adventures that they don't want to go on. On the other hand, they have to go on them or else they'll go insane of boredom. These adventures are literally keeping them from dying of boredom. They're in a world where nothing matters, so the adventures are actually necessary for their mental survival, so that every day isn't just exactly the same.
Some of them insane, leaving them abstracted, where they devolve into monsters. Case in point, the clown Kaufmo was obsessed with finding the exit, and abstracts just before Pomni shows up.
Oh, Kaufmo's been abstracted. It's okay. What is that?
And yet, even when Pomni does get herself to the exit in this pilot episode, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just endless hallways and office spaces
Backroom
repeating.
style.
It is basically the backrooms. As it
dude literally rips off everything I say. I say it like 1 second before he... MatPat, what is going on?
Turns out Kane made this fake exit, hoping to give the humans what they wanted.
Right? How twisted is that? A fake exit so that they can be excited about it, and then it's just fake? Just actually bonkers. Crazy. The psychological torture in this show.
Didn't know what to put on the other side.
I do have to apologize for lying about the exit. I was having so much trouble figuring out what to put on the other side and ended up never quite finishing it.
And more or less, that's where we leave the colorful cast of the Amazing Digital Circus after this first episode. Now, already there's just so much world building here for us to dig into. So many questions posed that we want the answers to. Like, who's behind the Amazing Digital Circus?
Great
Is there
question.
an actual way out, or are they just trapped forever? Are characters like Kaufmo really gone, or can they be brought back in some way? And sorry to say, I don't have a whole lot of answers for those things.
Well,
Not yet. For
obviously
as much
not. You know as much about this as any of us do, so...
as Glitch and Gooseworks packed into the first episode, they've done the wise thing and not given us a whole lot of answers. But I do think they've given us plenty here to theorize about. So here are 3 Amazing Digital Circus theories. Don't run for the exit doors yet, my friends.
All right, 3 Amazing Digital Circus theories. Theory 1, saving humanity. All right. Theory 2, trapped in humanity for the, trapping people here for entertainment of the masses, Squid Game style. And theory 3... I don't know theory 3. I don't know. I have 2 theories, basically.
We're going in. Let's start things off a bit small scale here. Theory number 1, everything in the show is literally a video game set...
All right, theory 3 is it's a simulation. Theory 3 is it's just not real. And they think they're real, but they're not. All right, cute.
The late 1990s.
Right, okay,
now, there's a lot in just this one episode that paints this as a video game world. For example, right at the beginning, we see
dude, it is a video game world. That's literally the whole gimmick. The first thing Pomni does when she's in there is she's trying to take off her headset. Like, holy moly, come on, you don't need to be a theorist for this.
Pixelated title card for the show that's obviously in the style of old school PC, PlayStation, and N64 games. This is further driven home in a secret video that you can find if you go to wackywatch.com, a URL shown on screen during the episode, which shows us the main menu for this game. We also see a flower pot fall to the ground and clip into it, kind of like an old school source engine glitch.
I love how he's like talking about this like, I cannot believe what I've discovered. I cannot believe how wild it is and crazy it is that this is glitching like a video game.
Mentions that he created the digital world in the weird backrooms office area in a way that's very similar to how a game developer would create world spaces. Plus, when Pomni first enters the world, she says this:
I put on some weird headset and now I'm here.
Again, directly implying that the whole thing is a game. She put on a...
Dude, why are you doing this, man? Come on, man. We know, MatPat!
VR headset and was transported into the world of the digital circus. All of that checks out and should be pretty darn obvious to the casual viewer. But what you might have missed is the fact that this is set in the late 1990s and not the present day, like you might expect from something talking about using VR headsets. And there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that points us to this conclusion.
Because they use like grainy things and he's gonna say that the computer that we zoom out of at the end of the episode is an old computer. No way, dude. This is... Sorry.
First of all, basically all the tech that we see throughout the series seems to be pulling straight from the 90s. Anytime...
Are we just gonna ignore the worst voice crack you've ever heard in your life?
...that we see throughout the series seems to be pulling straight from the 90s. Anytime we see a computer in the show, it's always the white boxy styled CRT monitors and large white computer towers reminiscent of models made by companies like Dell and Gateway back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Okay,
this is both in the actual episode and in the off-site material as well. In that same...
Dude, yes, that's what I said. Alright.
Same Wacky Watch commercial, we see a real-life computer with the same old school design. What's more, the beginning of this Wacky Watch video says that this was an old tape recovered on a date that's censored, and given the degradation on that tape, it implies that not only is this video old, but it was also recovered in the past as well. But this goes beyond just the tech that's used in the series. Many of the characters and iconography from the show are very reminiscent of popular characters and ideas from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, like dolls and...
Pomni's gesture design...
Cute. Alright, I see it.
A lot of cues from Sega's old Nights into Dream series. Jax shares design inspiration and a similar name with Max, the rabbit from the Sam and Max games. Bubble clearly takes cues from Super Mario's Chain Chomps. Jax and Gangle were both inspired by characters like Poppy the Performer, an old Japanese 3D animated series, while Kane and the Digital Circus setup's very reminiscent of the villain and plot of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, a short story by Harlan Ellison adapted into a...
Except Kane has all the mouth! Yes! Yes!
adventure game in 1995. Any way you slice it, it's very clear that the creators want the show to have the same 90s vibe that we're all so nostalgic for.
I think so. I mean, I don't know if it means that
now.
it's necessarily taking place in the 90s, but yeah, definitely has that 90s vibe. I'm with you.
Might be thinking, hold on, they're talking about VR headsets here. That's a modern thing, right? Wouldn't this thing just be inspired by the 1990s rather than
Well, it's not only in the 1990s, but it's also sci-fi!
in the 1990s? That's a pretty good call out. A lot of advances in virtual reality technology have only been made across the last decade, especially when you're talking about gaming. That doesn't mean that VR technology didn't exist back in the 1990s.
Yeah, VR headsets
and I'm not
have been
just
around
talking about
forever,
the rudimentary
not personal, right? They've been in like arcades and
black and
shit.
red wireframes of the Virtual Boy either. Back in 1991, Sega announced the Sega VR. In 1993, Virtuality created the Mega Visor display. And in 1995, Fort Technology hit us with the VFX-1 headset.
And then in 2012, people got trapped in Sword Art Online.
A few. And looking into old footage of all these things, it doesn't look too dissimilar to the sort of world that we see in the Amazing Digital Circus. Simple flat textures, rudimentary shapes and polygons. There's not a lot of detail here, but that's for good reason. These headsets, they couldn't handle a lot of detail. True story, I actually have some first-hand experience with these rudimentary headsets. The Great Lakes Science Center in Cleveland, Ohio.
Dude, I love MatPat. He's just been everywhere.
Actually had a special exhibit on VR technology in its basement when I was a kid, and it blew my mind. With the amount of wires and cables these things took to run, it felt like you were jacking into the Matrix, and you had to wait 45 minutes to put on one of these headsets, but all of a sudden you were dropped into a video game. It was simple. I was walking through a purple field with a bunch of green triangular mountains in the background, but it was effective, and it captured my imagination for decades since. So much so that even though it was a 5-minute experience that happened in my life like 2 decades ago, I still remember it vividly to this very day. Anyway,
very epic. I'm a little lost as to what he's trying to prove here. What, that they're in a video game and it takes place in the 1990s? Is that not the most basic take you could possibly have on the Digital Circus?
Wait, MatPat childhood stories aside, the long and short of all of this, everything that we see in the series is pointing to this taking place in the past and not in the present. All of this has already happened from our perspective. We're just watching the events of the game unfold. So now that we know—
Do you not understand historical fiction even a little bit? What was that? This takes place in the past. We are merely watching it unfold. Bro, every single story that happens in the past, bro, it happens in the past. Oh, we're living in a time ahead of when this has taken place. Sorry. I got a little rambunctious over there. But you can't just make it crazy. Every story that takes place in the past is like, what? It takes place in the past. We are ahead of this story.
Know that we're in a 1990s video game here. Let's dig a bit deeper, shall we? Theory number 2, Pomni helped create this hell simulation that they're currently stuck in. It's a pretty bold claim, so what would make me say that? Well, a couple of things. Firstly, one of the scenes that really jumped out to me while I was watching and rewatching the pilot was the sequence where Pomni's running through the back rooms on the other side of the exit door. At one point, she enters a more traditional-looking office space with computers and cubicles before stopping and staring at one desk in particular. This is played as a big moment. We linger on this shot for a long time. It's a classic horror-esque dolly zoom.
Interesting. So you're saying that she recognized it somehow, so maybe she was the creator. All right, that's cool. That's a theory. That's cute. I like it.
It's both the desk and Pomni before she has herself a psychological break. The lights start to flicker and she cackles uncomfortably before running on. The whole thing is really menacing and off-putting and clearly meant to leave us with a big impression. Why? Well, because
it did, because it zooms out of that at the end.
This desk isn't just some simulation that came cooked up in the back rooms. It's based on a real place in the real world of this universe outside of the simulation. A place that we actually see in the episode. At the very end, right before the credits
zooms out and it's hosting it.
Roll, we zoom out of the circus and through the void, revealing that all of this has been taking place inside of a computer.
That same computer!
We've already established that this right here is a big old simulation. But take a look at the computer and the desk. It's the exact same setup.
Okay, dude, I love how he's saying it like this. Like, I've noticed after cross-referencing that it's the same desk. Yes, and you know what? It also has a fucking VR headset on the fucking table over here.
Established that this right here is a big old simulation. But take a look at the computer and the desk. It's the exact same setup that we saw earlier in the episode in the backroom section. The same old equipment on the left, the same file cabinet.
Yeah, it's the same. It was supposed to be the same picture. It's the same exact picture, just slightly different color code. Whoa.
On the right, the same retro monitor and keyboard and computer tower and speakers. The same VR headset and headphones. This is exactly the same. But clearly, this was the real world. Not only have we literally zoomed out of the computer, implying that we're no longer in said simulation, but the lighting in the scene is much more natural. It's warmer. Sunlight is streaming through the nearby window, all at an angle because the sun's lower in the sky. This is not the flat computer simulation lighting.
Just explain sunlight. There are shadows because the sun is lower in the sky.
that we've been seeing throughout the rest of the episode. That right there, the desk and computer setup existing both in the simulation and in the real world, is already a pretty interesting point, but why then would it break Pomni? What causes her to go off the deep end and start laughing? Well, I think that subconsciously, Pomni recognizes that this is her desk. At the beginning of the episode, they make it clear that Pomni has lost her human memories, but this, I believe, is triggering a deep realization inside of her. Based on what we're given here, I believe that Pomni's human persona is an employee at CNA, the company developing the digital circuit.
I love that theory. That is such a cool theory. I hope he mentions it, because I thought that was the coolest thing I figured out.
Game and VR headset, and seeing it here inside the game unlocks some weird flash of her memory as to what's happening to get her into this situation. She's trapped in the very game that she helped to create. It's ironic, hence why she laughs. It's funny. It's darkly funny. I can see this being a huge reveal down the line, and one that could be potentially devastating for all the rest of our characters. For Pomni, obviously, but also for all the other characters who are trapped in here who would be seeing her as the one to blame for their current imprisonment.
Okay.
Also, real quick, super short micro theory. I don't think we have enough information to figure out what the initials in the company name.
Oh, there it is, baby. He's doing it.
Stand for, but one possibility that did jump out to me, it could potentially stand for Cain and Abel.
Let's go! Yeah, this is what I've been saying the entire time. Yeah, that's just a theory, a micro theory.
Partially named after the AI ringleader of the simulation, Cain, which could then lead itself to a lot of interesting story possibilities. You see, Cain and Abel are a pair of brothers who are the sons of Adam and Eve, with Cain
That is a theory, a Bible theory.
ultimately killing his brother and creating the first ever murder in the world. Anyway,
Not with a knife, though, with a rock.
you know how we love ourselves a good biblical reference here, and I just wanted to mention it in case we get more clues in future episodes. But something we do have more than enough to say about, theory number 3, all the characters aren't actually humans trapped inside the digital circus. Instead,
You just did the same theory 3 times.
they're all digital copies of the brains of humans who've put on these headsets.
Okay, alright, that's a little different than theory 1. Alright, okay.
Owned and then forced into the simulation. Now this is a pretty big swing. I mean, Pomni's first line of the series is practically, "Oh no, I'm a human who put on a headset and now I'm trapped here." And then Cain follows it up with this.
My, it appears a new human has entered this realm!
Human. He calls her a human. And that actually lines up with what we've seen with the official synopsis. Explicitly
yeah?
calling Pomni and the others humans, in contrast to Cain being an AI. Quote,
I'm a little confused. What's the problem here?
from that synopsis, a woman gets trapped in a crazy virtual world along with 5 other humans and are now subject to the whims of wacky AI and their own personal trauma.
Yeah, that's just the basic plot. Where's the theory?
Plus, I just personally like the image of a bunch of people strapped into these VR headsets a la Sword Art Online. But all of that being said, I believe that there's a lot of evidence pointing towards these characters being computerized clones rather than actual humans.
I mean, what's the difference at that point? Okay.
For instance, as I mentioned above, Pomni starts going a bit crazy when she sees her desk from the real world in the circus's back rooms. But think, what was actually on that desk? A headset. Pretty clearly a headset
What is going on?
that is not
mentioned
on
that.
any human's head. And that's not just a thing in the simulation, it's also on the desk in the real world too that we see in the final shot of the pilot. If there's a human trapped in the digital circus here with a headset firmly planted on their head that they can't get off, shouldn't they, be stuck there with the headset on their head? Given the little that we
Unless it's not that person or that specific headset, maybe.
have to go off of right now, it makes more sense that Pomni put on the headset, had her consciousness copied into
He's still going with the idea that that's Pomni's desk in the real world. That's why the headset should be full, not empty.
headset to
So
go home.
that leads you to believe that it must be a brain that was copied in, but not actually the person.
Meanwhile, Pomni in the game can't take it off because she's not a flesh and blood human anymore. She's a digital copy whose memories begin the moment the headset was put on. And even if we're wrong
See,
in this desk
I like
isn't
that. I think that's a cute theory in a nutshell, that it's copies of humans' brains, and now they're just watching it like to see what happens and the trauma that they go through. I like that idea, but I'm open to that. But the Pomni desk thing is not really such a necessary way to look at it. I just think in general it would be an interesting study. It's a theory with no evidence, and it's interesting, so it could be true.
Pomni's, all the other characters went through this exact same process when they first joined, as Jax hinted at when he sarcastically said,
How do I take this headset off?
Just keep grabbing at it. That works for all of us.
they all tried the exact same thing, and it didn't work for any of them. They're all
Or Jax was just being an asshole. But then, I think he's right.
digital copies grasping at a VR headset that isn't there anymore. But you know the thing that really convinced me of this theory? The mannequins. Yeah, did you notice these guys? All throughout the episode, we see several artist mannequins populating the circus. You know, these are the things that artists will sometimes buy to help them get references for poses. Most prominently, we see them in the restaurant with Kane and Bubble acting as background characters. But why would they matter? Well, we know that Kane can create NPCs.
Kane, is this one of your NPCs or is this a new sucker?
So maybe these mannequins are just random, nameless characters that Kane made up to fill in the circus.
Or they're the rich bastards watching the show.
Maybe, but that just doesn't sit right with me. First off, the dolls are clearly capable of emotions. We see one get upset when Pomni interrupts it taking a bath, silently screaming at Pomni until she slams the door. There's something more going on here than just these things being background extras. Take a look at this. When Ragatha is showing Pomni...
Some of the doors that don't have people on it have mannequin placeholders, which I just thought that just means that they're guests. Oh, wait. What if these are guests? What if this is just Rick and Morty Roy life simulation? I think I saw someone in chat mention that. Quick GG mentioned that. But what if these people are just guests in this world? This is just a game, and when they abstract, it's when they lose. That's when they get their game over. Yo, what if they literally paid to be here for this crazy experience?
...to a room, there are several other doors for other characters in the background. This is actually a great piece of world building. We see
Not
that
a Squid Game, because Squid Game, they're just the entertainment. Here, they are entertaining, but they're entertaining themselves. This is more than Squid Game.
The current characters have themselves their own rooms, as well as several other characters that we haven't met yet. There's this colorful one that I can't quite make out, what looks to be a pinkish purple goo monster, some sort of cute doggo, green and orange anteater looking guy, a black queen chess piece.
No, not Queen chess piece. That would make me so sad.
I'm gonna guess is named Queenie, seems to be Kinger's counterpart, implying that he didn't come into the simulation alone. Regardless, all of these portraits have giant red X's over them, and that checks out. These are likely characters that have abstracted in the past, just like Kaufmo did. We even see other abstracted creatures in the cellar when Kane banishes Kaufmo. Anyway, along with these past and current characters, we also see several doors with blank mannequins on them.
Yeah, I just figured those are doors that don't have humans in there yet. That was just my guess. Humans didn't enter there yet, so they're just kind of space holders.
One, but multiple doors. If I had to guess what's going on here, when a new human enters the game, these rooms transform into one that's appropriate for them, and the mannequin on the door transforms into their character. And what's more, I believe that there's a mannequin in the game that also transforms into that character. Right now, they're placeholders, but they get molded into these human copies whenever someone new puts on the headset, and their brain gets scanned into the system. That would fit thematically with the idea of the mannequins to begin with. They're supposed to be used as references and then turned into something real when you're using them for your artwork. That would also fit with the fact that they're on the doors of all these empty rooms, and the characters...
I'm pretty sure I said that not in my reaction, but in my review, I said that as well.
...being scanned clones of human brains would fit the fact that they can't take off their headsets, despite us seeing a headset not being worn at a desk that is clearly meant to be Pomni's. It just all fits with what we've seen from the series so far. In short, the series is gaslighting us. It isn't about a bunch of humans trapped in a simulation, it's about a bunch of human consciousnesses that have been scanned into an AI system.
In some ways, you could say that that's the same thing, but that's really interesting, and they think that they're humans. I like that. That's very cool. I really like this Roy the big question for me is whether they're humans or whether they are just consciousnesses that are uploaded into this game. What my big question is, are they doing it for their own entertainment? Are they doing it to, are they doing it to entertain some asshole out there that is watching people suffer? Like, for me, that is the two major questions. And obviously it could be, you know, other things, but for me, it's those two. Why are they here? To entertain someone else against their will? Or are they here for their own twisted entertainment? And we'll see where that goes from there. Who knows? For me, those are the two big questions, but we'll see where it goes, I guess.
Apt onto blank mannequin bodies, where the computer can then simulate their human behavior and push
I think it's fairly obvious, though, it is their consciousness. Like, dude, it's obviously not them themselves that are in this world and their physical body transforms, because they don't need nutrients or any of that.
Their buttons to the breaking point, learning the weaknesses of the human psyche. And then, when they've had too much and abstract out of the system, well, then you just boot up another new simulation and try again. There is no exit door, just an endless loop of torturous tests run by Kane as he tries to understand the human experience. Just like a real circus, all of it is just a big performance. But hey!
But he's not talking about who's the performance is for. What, you think it's about the technology, like AI taking over and learning about them? I don't think so. I feel like that's a little too detached from humanity.
You know what character in the show that I think is criminally underrated? Bubbles! This adorable little bubble doggo seems like they're willing to eat just about anything, but I know for a
Is
fact
that a sponsor? Is this a sponsor segment? This is just random enough to be a sponsor.
that they would absolutely love the food from the sponsor of today's episode, Sunday's Dog.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to me, I'd say. I think that now's a good time for me to remind you to subscribe to me and leave a like on my channel and videos. Do all of that, please. Oh my god, it's a 3-minute ad! Sorry. Anyway, hells yeah, thanks for being here. I think this was a good video, though. All in all, MatPat, good one. This is not like your One Piece one, which I thought was abysmal. But this was a good video. This was a good video.
Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.